I still think it's entirely absurd that ghosts aren't allowed in exams. It doesn't matter that it's been years since I had one. I still have nightmares about unexpected exams. The moment when the timer starts and everything goes unnaturally quiet, and I'm left entirely alone when there should always be someone. I mean, I get it. They could be used to cheat. Honestly, my experience of ghosts suggests it would be hard not to cheat if the ghosts were there. They're very opinionated and plagiarism is very real, and that's only when they know as much as you do. But it's such a visceral moment, realizing for the first time that the people who chose you above all else can be taken away, just like that. I feel bad doing this, I confide in Edith. She hasn't been one of my ghosts for long, a little over a year, but she's the only one around right now. She chose me when her last living person died because she'd befriended Clara in the 1920s and wanted to get back in touch. I don't really agree with it. It's cruel, don't you think? Edith died in 1392, but you'd hardly tell it without seeing her. Ghosts tend to go two ways, I find. They either stick very firmly to the practices and language of their lifetime, or they adapt to change so well that you barely remember they're not alive. It's fine on my end. Edith is also not the most friendly. She's not here for me, and she doesn't want me to forget it. That's good. Relieving, you know. I'm not actually hurting anyone. But the sudden radio silence is upsetting, you know? It's not what I signed up for. Well, technically, yeah, it is. But I thought I'd be doing important things, right? Helping the people being harassed, that kind of thing. I look around theatrically. I know no one's there. No one I can see, anyway. But it's fun to put on a bit of a show, even if I know it will go unappreciated. Making a lot more money, too. But instead it's this. Ghost-proofing a school exam hall. I'm rambling a little bit. I want Edith to like me, although it's probably a lost cause by now, and the only way to get her to say anything is to ask a direct question. This is not, I have found, a particularly fun or natural way to conduct a conversation. I'd probably be better off leaving her in silence, but that's the boring option. Do you know how all this works? I know better than to ask if she wants to know. No. This paint here goes around the building to establish a boundary, I say with forced enthusiasm. It's painted because chalk could be easily messed with. Or it could just rain. It rains a lot. I needed to touch it up before you came, but it stays there year round. It's this that's the really important stuff. I gesture to the wires and switches and actual chalk symbols in front of me. Edith, at least, is polite enough to look where I'm directing her. The electricity powers it, so technically I could switch it off and leave all this here too. But people pull pranks with it and the guidelines change a lot too, so it's not like I'd be able to just leave it alone. This sigil means that all ghosts will be affected. You can specialise it to a specific ghost or an era or a method of death if you want to be a bit weird with it. And this one up here is for the sight of the living, and that one's for sound. If they're not drawn up together like that, it can affect other kinds of sight and hearing too. Tons of people hate it. They don't like that it's messing with their brains, even though it's not really. It's actually just making sure those signals don't make it to the brain, and there have been so many studies to prove it doesn't have any long-term or wide-ranging effects. But people still don't let their kids take exams. Isn't that wild? I turn to watch Edith. Yes, it was a rhetorical question, but she's not very good at picking up on those. It's inconsiderate. I nod my agreement. It is inconsiderate. I mean, I'm not a parent, but... Oh, hello, Clara. Clara does like me, or If she doesn't, I haven't been able to pick up on it. She's my great grandmother and showed up when I was 8. I was so excited. I hadn't known people back then had been black and that they'd got to wear such pretty dresses. I'd be devastated to find out if she doesn't actually like me. Good afternoon. I must borrow Edith for a spell. Do you mind? Clara speaks with a formality I've always found amusing, especially when it's jarringly anachronistic. Nope, go ahead. I try not to show my relief. It is unnerving, though, to be left alone. Not the total isolation of the blockers. I can still feel my ghosts, sense roughly how far apart they are, and in what directions. But still, with no one to chatter away to, I can't help but feel a little lost. I'm basically done, for now, with the blocker. It'll need to come down again in a few months, and I should test it now. But I already know it will work. I am overqualified for this, like I said, and the only person to test it on is me. The only person who will know I didn't test it is also me. Unless someone has their ghost spying on me, but I think by now they would be bored with that. And even so, it's only a problem if it doesn't work. And I know it will. I also already know that I'm not going to test it. Maybe I can understand why I haven't been hired for anything better. Just a little bit. I fire a text off to the head of operations to say I've finished. It's a Saturday, and they seemed eager to speed off as soon as they showed me the necessary buildings, and I was hardly going to stop them. Which means there's no one to wait for before going to my car and making my own speedy exit. Nothing to give me pause, really, apart from the text from a new number on my work phone. This, in itself, is not surprising. It's listed on my website, and although organisations tend to see it as far more professional to email me, they do sometimes text. Scams also text far more commonly. Now, the part that really gives me pause is the text itself. It's not real. Another new sort of elaborate scam, or just sent to the wrong number. The latter, probably. Certainly it's not from an organisation. Or, if it is, whoever sent it is going to get fired. Probably the best thing to do is just to completely leave it alone. It seems, quite possibly, illegal, and this is a number that is so easily traceable back to me. I might not be exactly where I want to be in terms of my career, but at least I have one, and I wouldn't want to risk harming whatever reputation I do have. Is this meant for me? I text back. Which is okay, but it's unprofessional. Technically. Not anything that would make someone not want to hire me, probably. And the chances are, that's just it. An accident, they realise their mistake, and it's over. I check my messages again just to be sure. They've sent Sunrise Cafe 9 a.m. tomorrow. Full stop and everything. I won't go, I decide, even if they did mean to text me. I won't be ordered around like that. But what if this is what I've been waiting for? I ask Harold, who was not born Harold, but chose the name in 1066 in support of Harold Hardrada, despite having already been dead for over 1,000 years. Probably. It gets a bit fuzzy, especially because there are just so many more people the closer you get to the present. I think he's my oldest ghost, and I don't know why he chose me. I mean, it's obviously really entitled, but you know who tends to be entitled? Rich people. This could be the kind of client I've been waiting for, the one who's going to change everything for me. This could be making my name. If they don't show up, wouldn't I be turning my back on opportunity? And it's a mystery. I'd regret it for the rest of my life if I didn't. Sometimes, Harold says, you think you've found a great opportunity. This is my chance, you say. Now I will rule England, you say. Then you end up dying at the Battle of Stamford Bridge. I've often wondered if he was Harold Hardrada's lover, or if he wanted to be. Maybe Hardrada didn't become a ghost, or they had a torrid affair spanning centuries after he died. Although it's more of a myth than anything that people can do anything other than become a ghost when they die. It's hard to keep track of, given that you can only trust a single living person to say which ghosts they're able to see, and no one wants to believe that their dear mother chose someone else to haunt. Counterpoint. I am unlikely to be killed in a local coffee shop at 9 a.m. Harold leans forward in his seat, which is a little unnerving given that he's actually floating slightly above it. You could be. You could be the next big news story. Your death could become a meme on the TikTok. I know he really is trying, but hearing the inverted commas snap into place is deeply disconcerting. Harry, I say, knowing he hates being called that. I will offer you 5 years of service after my imminent death, if all of that happens. Make it 10, and I may consider forgiving you for ignoring the wisdom of your elders. I have nothing to offer him but annoyance in 10 years of servitude, which means he definitely doesn't think I'll actually die like that. How about 7? But you can decide who I choose first. If we were really bargaining, I would have lost right there. But I'm not about to die, and nothing will come of it, so it's not a concern. We have ourselves a deal, my girl. Ugh. I probably shouldn't go tomorrow, just to be really fully sure that doesn't happen. Although, now that I think about it, I've basically made a deal which means I have to. Oops. I let Harold tell me about Hardrada's time in Turkey, again, for the opportunity to collect myself. It's fine. Probably. The most likely thing is that they didn't mean to send it to me. Or it's a normal job, and whoever contacted me is new and socially awkward and didn't understand basic etiquette. In 24 hours, I'll be upset with myself for getting so worked up over nothing. Certainly, there is no chance I'll be killed in a perfectly public, normal place. My forced calm lasts as long as it takes to park, and then I'm scrambling for my phone again. What if they haven't responded yet? What if they're not going to? I'm too keyed up, I won't be able to sleep tonight if I'm just waiting for them to text back. I need to know. Probably, I was always going to go along with whatever they said, just to find out. It's important to know yourself. I get my password wrong twice. You have to be careful when you don't know who's around watching you. And also who they can talk to, and whether they would want access to your phone, and what they would do with it. But then, it's opening, my phone, and... You do the ghost stuff, right? Well...